Hello knitters, I'm Yessy from Yessys Designs. I welcome you to episode number 6 of the Yessys Designs podcast. If you're working on a project, if it's knitting, if it's crochet, embroidery, sewing, feel free to bring it along. Also bring your favorite drink so I can share with you quite a few things that have been on the making this month. In the month of February, I released 2 patterns. I'm gonna be talking on this podcast about pattern releases, finished pieces, work in progress, patterns that are gonna be released. There is gonna be a giveaway at the end, so stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna share with you one book that I read this month, so stay tuned. I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing. This is the Bantam Cowl. If you have been following me on Instagram or if you are familiar with my work, you might have seen this Bantam Cowl a few times. This is a pattern that I released more than a year ago. I'm gonna leave on the description below all the links where you can find this pattern. And I'm also going to link the blog post where you can read more about the inspiration behind this pattern. This is one of the patterns that will always be very special to me. I designed it having a dear friend in mind who was going through a rough situation. And it was at the beginning of COVID, when we couldn't be with people much. So we sent her a care package, including this design, thinking of her in a yarn that is perfect for her. It was, the yarn was an acrylic with a wool blend, and it has some sequins in it, hot pink. Perfect for her. And then I started making these cowls for other dear friends that were also going through rough times, and I wanted them to feel that they were getting a hug from my family. So this pattern is very special. I hope that you take a look at the listing. You can see more details about the pattern. Please read the blog post. It is very special. That's all I can say. It is just very dear to me. It represents that hug that we couldn't give in those first few days. And this is a pattern that gets a lot of love. It's been getting a lot of love since the release. And when people, they write to me, some of them, they say that they are also making it for dear friends, to try to share some comfort with them, to also try for them to feel that they are getting a hug from this person. This is a pattern that some people, they share with other knitters or with friends that they have that knit, and the love continues to be spread. So take a look at that. This yarn that I use for this specific cowl, it's from Untangled Yarn. My friend Helen, she hand dyes yarn as well, and she has many other talents, but hand dyeing yarn is one of them. The colorway for this yarn is called Island Sky, and when I remember when I saw this colorway, also in the very few months of COVID, I saw this colorway when she posted it on her Instagram, and it reminded me of the colors of the sunsets that I grew up watching in our home beach back in Colombia. So I right away got some of this yarn, and I made this cowl for my daughter, and I made this cowl also for me. So it's this special one, this one is very special too because of that reason as well. Every time I see this colorway, it reminds me of those sunsets. And every time my family goes to this home that we have by the beach, I always tell them to please send me the sunset pictures. It never gets old, and I cannot wait to go and see that sunset again after quite a few years of not going. So this is the Bantam Cowl. It's a beautiful lace design. This is a pattern that an advanced beginner knitter can work on. The instructions are with a chart, and also I put the written instructions in there, so it's very easy for you to follow. You just have to be mindful of the yarn overs, but it is not a hard piece to make. It looks very pretty. You can see the repetitive pattern every few rounds. So I hope that you consider putting this pattern on your needles. It's really, really a pretty pattern. Every now and then I make it for different friends, same meaning behind the pattern. So it's a pattern that I have come to love and work on very, very much. So that's what I'm wearing. Oh, I'm also wearing this bracelet. This is from my friend Martina from MVF Jewelry. I'm gonna put the link to her Etsy shop in the description below. And she worked in collaboration with my other friend from Brooklyn, Brooklyn Made Natural. I'm also gonna put the links to these two shops. It's an essential oil diffuser bracelet, and I love to wear it very much with my essential oils. Okay, so that's about what I'm wearing today. Now, I'm gonna talk about pattern releases. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that there were 2 pattern releases in the month of February. It was very exciting patterns that I absolutely loved designing and working on. And now that they are released, I can see that so many of you are liking this pattern. You have it on your needles, you have shared it with your friends, and it's always touching. This is one of the feelings that never gets old, when you feel the support, when somebody is already working on these pieces and then they express their feelings towards the pattern. They share with me, this is gonna be for, let's say, my niece or my nephew. I'm making this pattern just to share with a friend, now that it's cold. And it's a pattern that actually it's 3 patterns. And the patterns are very engaging to work on. So I'm going to start showing you the Milagros sweater. This is a pattern that has been on the making for a few months, and I couldn't be happier to have this out in the world. This is my first garment design that I'm releasing. If you go to the blog post about the inspiration behind the Milagros sweater, you can see why this is also a very special pattern. And you might, now that I'm saying this again, that is a special pattern, you might hear me saying that a lot, because every single pattern that I release has a meaning behind it. So it's impossible that any of the patterns don't mean something to me especially. So I'm gonna show you the Milagros sweater. This is one of the sweaters that I made for my daughter. I just noticed there is an end that I haven't woven. So this is the Milagros sweater. For this sample, I used Pound of Love by Lion Brand yarn. It's an acrylic yarn. My daughter for the last couple of years has been showing more sensitivity to a few fibers. So I know that I'm always safe to work on acrylics with her. There are a few merino wools that she's not allergic to or showing any kind of reaction to that. So merino wools are also some, I also use this type of yarn to make pieces for her. But since this is a garment that is gonna be completely covering, her upper body, I wanted just to be safe, and I wanted her to enjoy wearing these pieces. So I made it in this color. She has quite a few. I made it in white for her. I made it in this color, and I made another one in lavender, and she's using them with everything, with her dresses, with her jeans. She's just loving them, and I'm so excited that she's liking them. I made this other sample for my son. This is also from Pound of Love. So this is for, oh wait, this is the back. This is the front. Here you go. So this is for my son. Oh my goodness, these kids are just growing so much. I cannot believe that I'm making such a big sweater for him. He just turned 13. Look at this way. So this sample has a folded neck just to add extra warmth. The pattern has instructions about how to do this, or you can also leave it like this sample. This is a very warm sweater, super cozy. So one of the things that, or some of the comments that I heard when I was showing that I was working on this pattern, is that so many new knitters are afraid of making garments. So they stick to work with accessories. Nothing wrong with that. I made my first garment. Well, I actually made my first garment when I just started knitting, but it was work flat, so it was just stockinette, and my teacher was the one that sew everything together. So I cannot say that I knew how to work on a garment. But my first garment that I really made was for the last Rhinebeck before COVID. I made one of the patterns from Andrea Maury, and I just forgot the name. I just went blank, but I'm gonna put it in the description below. So that was the first garment that I ever made, and I love working on it. So when COVID first started, and you're gonna read some of this in the blog, but I just wanted to show, to tell you something about it. When COVID first started, those first few weeks that nobody knew how things were gonna be, when this thing was going to end, or anything like that, I felt that I wanted something that would keep me motivated. So I follow, and I have been following Cecilia for many years from Mama Do It Yourself. I'm also going to share in the description below her Instagram account. She was having this course about how to design top-down sweaters or a raglan sweaters. So I just didn't think about it. I just signed up for the classes, and I believe it was like 2 or 3 months. I forgot. It was quite a few weeks of getting these classes with Cecilia. She's such an amazing teacher. I was when the class first started, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? I'm gonna be the one that has absolutely no idea about what is going on. I'm gonna be so bad. And the other thing is that the class was in Spanish. So Spanish is my first language, is the language of my heart. But I learned how to knit in English. So just to be a little bit more clear on that, when I first learned how to knit in 2008, I share more about this in a future blog post and a video. I learned in Spanish, but I didn't learn in Spanish. So I don't remember any, I don't remember I had 2 teachers. I don't remember them saying, this is how this is called. No, they just told me, this is what you're going to do on this side, and this is what you're going to do on the other side. And that's what I did. I did this stitch on this side, and then I did this stitch on the other side. And it was just like 2 or 3 classes, or maybe more than that. And that was it. It was a scarf, and it was a beanie. The beanie was the same thing. It was work flat. So they say, you're going to do this on the right side, and then you're going to do this on the wrong side. And when I was done, they seamed the beanie together, and I had a beanie and I had a scarf. So I didn't know any of the terms back then. But when I came back, that was in Colombia, and I went there to visit my grandmother. Then when I came back, I got pregnant with my son. And when I was I think I was like 7 months pregnant when I started knitting again. But I wanted to knit again, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I already forgot everything that I learned in those few classes. So I attended knitting classes here in Connecticut, almost till the time that I was going to give birth, to the time when I couldn't walk anymore, that it was so big that I couldn't walk anymore. So that's how I learned the different terms. Everything was in English. So now that I was taking these classes with Cecilia in Spanish, I was afraid that I wouldn't know exactly what is it that was being shown. But all the fears were gone after that first class. Again, she's such an amazing teacher. Everything was such a breeze, and I completely fell in love of making and knowing that, I can design something. And actually, we designed a piece. Everybody had a different piece. All the students, they were able to design their own sweater, and the sweaters were beautiful. I showed this to you in another episode because I could talk forever, and I will. So I designed that first sweater, and I looked at it, and I tried it on, and it felt exactly like how I wanted it to fit. And then I looked at all my notes. This is after the class is all done, after the course is all done. And I kept looking at it, and I was like, I can do this. I think I was so confident that I could do it. So I designed a very basic raglan sweater for my daughter, which is the Milagros sweater. At the time, it didn't have a name. So she had her first sweater, she used it. I started to get more familiar with the construction of the sweaters. So after a while, more than 2 years of, okay, what are the best techniques to, for example, avoid the underarm holes? If I make a mistake when I say something, please forgive me. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say. So I tried a few different techniques for the armholes. And the thing is that when I researched YouTube, Google, a lot of designers, they say, try to do your best to just like go through the holes, make it look as neat as you can, and don't worry, nobody's going to see under the arm. But I was going to see, and I wanted to find a technique that would work as clean as possible to make, these finishing touches. So finally, I found one. I did it a few times. I was so happy with it. I tried some other ones. The one that I'm sharing in this pattern, there are tutorials on YouTube that are for everybody. If anybody is making a sweater and they want to avoid the holes under the arm, there are videos right there. I put them specially for the ones that are working on the Milagros sweater, but the things in those tutorials, they work for, you're gonna see if they work for the pattern that you're working on. So that was one of the things that I heard when I was showing the Milagros sweater. Some knitters, they said, I'm afraid, I don't like top-down sweaters because you have the holes, or they would say, we don't know exactly how to, things that for a more experienced knitter would be kind of easy. It was kind of daunting for quite a few. How do you put the stitches back in the needles after being in the scrap of yarn? What if I'm twisting them and things like that? So I shared as many tutorials as I could. So making this raglan sweater, which it's right now the first sweater that quite a few knitters are working on. I wanted that process to be as easy and as enjoyable as possible. So you're gonna have a very nice raglan increases. It's not hard to work on these. You're gonna find that out. So you might learn a few things like the increases. You're gonna learn the construction of the sweater. You can learn how to avoid the holes under the arms. And you can easily adjust it if you want a short sleeve, if you want a shorter length for the body or a longer length for the body. These are things that you can easily customize. So the Milagros sweater is out, and I am so, 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 so happy about it. And I'm making more right now. I just got, but it's still in the mailbox. I just got new yarn from Hobbii, another acrylic yarn for my daughter. It's the color is like a blush color, but hopefully I have everything for the next podcast. I will show that to you. There is another yarn that I got, that I'm getting. It's on the way, that is gonna make the sleeves pop out so beautifully, and I can't wait to see these new Milagros sweaters. So there are many things that you can do. Right now I'm working on embroidery for one of them, but it was not ready for me to show that to you. And I know that in the last podcast I said that I would, but it's not quite ready yet. I couldn't work on it. I just worked on the embroidery one day this month, just for a bit. So I want to have more progress before I show you the look. So you can add stripes, you can add embroidery, anything that you want to add to make it your own. You know, that's all up to you. You just have to be creative and choose what you would like to do. Okay, so that's about the Milagros sweater. It is in child sizes. So this year I'm gonna be releasing the same pattern for adult sizes, and it's gonna be quite exciting too, because now you can match your children, female or male. You can match, and I cannot wait to have all those matching pictures and going out wearing the same type of sweater and all of that. I still love that. My daughter, she still likes to match her mommy, and I hope this phase stays for a long time. So I'm looking forward to make us matching Milagros sweaters. So right now it's in child sizes up to size 16, from 2 to 16. So I hope that you can make it for the little ones in your life. Now, the other pattern release is the Sierra Nevada Beanie and the Sierra Nevada Poncho. So I'm going to show some pictures in here. You can see my poncho, okay, over there. And you can see in the pictures how this pattern looks. Again, it's getting so much love, both the poncho and the beanies, and it is very exciting. It also has tutorials, so you can make the twisted stitches that are at the bottom of the poncho. So it again is nothing hard. You can see the tutorial. You can watch it as many times as you want as you work on these stitches if you are not familiar with them. And this is the kind of stitch that you can add to a pattern that has, for example, mostly stockinette. You can just make a cowl using these stitches, and it's actually let me just get the beanie. It's actually the only stitch that the Sierra Nevada Beanie has. So these are the twisted stitches. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I'm very happy, for example, also because my local yarn store, Stars Hollow Yarns, starting this at the end, since the end of February. So like right now, they just started this week, to be more clear. This week they started having in their shops my patterns available for the neighbors, for whoever goes to their yarn store. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. The owner, Lisa, she has so many beautiful, beautiful yarns and bags and notions. It's just absolutely breathtaking from the moment they open the door. It's the most beautiful yarn store that I have ever been at. And the Sierra Nevada Beanie is one of the patterns that they have available there. They have it in kits. So whoever goes there, they want to make it, they already have the yarns that they think is going to work well with this pattern. The yarn that I use for this design is from Hobbii. Hobbii, where they were kind enough to send me the yarn needed to make this pattern. So I hope that you get to see what the listing is about, what the pattern is about, and consider having it on your needles. The beanie, for example, works in no time. The poncho, even though it's a big piece, it's also very quick to make. It doesn't take too long. It's very engaging. It has the turtleneck. Then you have a lot of stockinette, and then you have a diamond design, and then you have the twisted stitches at the bottom. And it's a very engaging pattern to work on. Again, if it's too long for you, it's also easily customizable, so you can make it shorter if you would like to wear, for example, as a capelet. I don't know if I'm saying the word correctly, but if you want it to be shorter, that's something that you can do too. In the blog post that I'm going to share about the inspiration behind the Sierra Nevada Beanie and Poncho, there is a short documentary that shows you the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. So you're going to see that even though it's on the Caribbean, the temperature changes from 0 degrees to 24 degrees, and it's just beautiful. I think it's worth your time to go and see that documentary. I think it's about 11 minutes, and it shows you this amazing, beautiful part of Colombia. I grew up going there all the time, because the home that we have by the beach, we have to pass the Sierra Nevada to go to our home there. So it is a breathtaking place. And like always, when something is inspired by Colombia, I always try to share as much as I can, so you can have a feel of maybe a place that you might or might not go to at some point in your life, but I want you to see the beauty as well. The thing that I forgot to say about the Milagros sweater, and maybe it's not that I forgot, but I didn't want to talk about it too much because it makes me very teary, but you're going to read in the blog post. The name Milagros is the city where my father-in-law had his farm in Ecuador. So all the time that I knew my father-in-law, he was always so proud talking about his farm and his years there and all the plantations that he had, the workers, everything he did. He was so proud that he was able to support his family just with the farm. So I love to hear these stories. And when I was working on this pattern, that was like soon after he passed away last year. It's going to be a year in March. And very respectfully, I wanted to name that pattern that I was working on, because it was like the first pattern that I feel motivated to, let's say, to say, okay, let's share this pattern with other knitters. Let's put it out there. But I wanted to remember that it was at a time where we were experiencing grief, deep pain, that if I talk too much or think too much about it, it's like reliving those first few days all over again. But very respectfully, I wanted this pattern to have a meaningful name. So the Milagros sweater is named after the city where he had his farm. He was a beautiful, beautiful man, a great father-in-law. He was like a father to me. He was always very caring, a darling person, very hardworking. And a lot of the qualities that he had are the qualities that I see in my husband, for example. So these are things that we want our son, as a man, we want him to have. He was, again, a hard worker. He did everything that he could for his family. An honest man. Either something is right or something is wrong, but there are many things that you cannot say that you are in the middle. It's either you work for your family or you don't. You put your family first. So many things so many of the conversations that he had about his farm ended up in lessons for his son, for my husband, lessons for my son. So it's hard not to have his view on so many things now that he's not here. But we try to remember as much as possible. We talk about him as much as we can. And, when we see other situations with people or family members, we always say, he would have said this, he would have said that. And he had a very mature point of view on so many things. And I think more than because of his age, it was because of the circumstances that he grew up around with. He never had an easy childhood. He had, from a very young age, he had to support his family. So he didn't go to school. And everything he had was because of hard work, and because of his work ethic. So I kept a lot of lessons for myself. And I wanted this pattern to have that special part about him. Okay. So let's stop there, because otherwise I'm just gonna have to say I see you for the next podcast. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Let me see, finished pieces. I just finished 2 pieces this month, and later I'm gonna tell you why. I made 2 Sierra Nevada beanies. So from Stars Hollow Yarns, my local yarn store, I got yarn from West Yorkshire. This is a mouthful, and I'm sure my son is gonna be laughing when we are editing the video. But there are some words that I cannot say. It doesn't matter how much he teaches me or corrects me, they just cannot come out right. So this is gonna be one of the brands that I am so sorry that I'm not saying this properly, but I'm really trying my best. West Yorkshire Spinners. So this is the Croft. This is Shetland Tweed, 100% Shetland Island wool. This yarn is absolutely beautiful. This is one of the yarns that you are not gonna say this is the softest, like if you're working with merino wool. It's not soft, but it is just amazing. The beanies that I have made with this yarn, they are the beanies that I wear the most when the days are really, really cold. So I wanted to make, this is gonna be for me, I wanted to make me another Sierra Nevada beanie with the Croft, but I paired it with mohair from Pearl Soho. So the result actually with the mohair, it's very soft. Like I touch it and it's not, again, not as soft as if you are working with merino, but it is way softer than if you were not using the mohair for this piece. So this is gonna be for me. I'm so loving this. I love so much working with lavender, with the yarn from Hobie, that I wanted to choose another lavender. So this has, sorry, this has some touches of lavender and gray, and it's just so pretty. So I finished this piece for me, and I made another Sierra Nevada beanie with the same mohair from Pearl Soho and yarn from Malabrigo. Now, I don't remember the colorway. I didn't find the tag. This is a yarn that I got to work on another project, and I don't know what I did with it. But it's a worsted weight yarn from Malabrigo. This is absolutely soft, that I can tell you. It's just so soft. I don't know yet if I'm not gonna keep it. I don't know if I'm gonna put it on the website or if I'm gonna give it to a friend. So this is it. These are the only 2 pieces that I finished that are not patterns to be released. So that was it. Once you work on a Sierra Nevada beanie, I have found that it's hard to stop. I have been making so many on repeat. So many of my friends have this beanie, and I have sent a few to my family as well. So they are in their forever homes, and everybody has the nicest thing to say about the fit, the thickness. They like to wear it in the cold weather, obviously. Now, patterns to be released. I'm very excited. I mean, I cannot believe that it's been 4 patterns that have been released already just in this year, when last year, 2022, I think I released a total of 4 patterns. This year, it's been already 4 patterns, and I just cannot believe that. So I don't think I'm gonna keep I'm not having a fast pace. These are patterns that I started to work months in advance. So it's not like I'm working. I have a very steady and easy pace, despite of what it might seem. So these are patterns that I took my time with, and now is when they are starting to come out. Now the next pattern that is gonna be released is a cardigan. So talking about garments, this is gonna be my first cardigan that I am going to release, and this is the Candywood cardigan. This is also gonna be in child sizes. I'm sorry. And later it's gonna be released for adults. So you're gonna see some pictures in here about how the pattern, how the cardigan looks. It is a very elegant design, if I may say so. I wanted something that was elegant. My daughter, and this is for her, obviously, she wears a lot of dresses, and I wanted her to wear a cardigan that wouldn't necessarily be, what is the word that I'm looking for? I wanted something that would be soft, something that didn't have too much going on, so it could be easily layered with most of her dresses. So after a few tries and sketches and everything that goes behind designing a pattern, this is the version that I love the most. So this cardigan, it's also knitted from the top down. And I just got yarn to make her another one. This is yarn from Hobbii. I'm going to show you in a second how the yarn looks like. So I'm having trouble holding it. So you have twisted stitches at the bottom of the sleeve. Look at this. Again, no holes in the underarm, which is perfect. So look at this is the sleeve. And you have the same design at the bottom of the cardigan. At the bottom of the cardigan here, you have the front, the front bands. And this is how it looks. Let me get the yarn because I forgot to put it down. Okay, so Hobbii asked me if I would like to be part of their Spice It Up campaign for the month of February. It ends March the 1st. And after I read all the details about this campaign, I jumped to the opportunity. And this yarn, when I saw it, it was like the perfect yarn to make this cardigan. So this is called Portobello from Hobbii. And this is a worsted weight yarn, 60% cotton, 28% acrylic, and 12% wool. So again, for my daughter, this was gonna be perfect because it's mostly acrylic and it feels very soft. The stitch definition is one of the things that surprised me so much because if you can see, let me bring the cardigan up again. The stitch definition is just beautiful, 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 beautiful. If a stitch fell, for example, it was very easy to be picked up. I had no trouble whatsoever with this yarn. It was an absolute delight to work with. So much that I ordered new yarn that should arrive this coming week in a minty, I think the name of the colorway is minty green. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade of green, and oh my goodness, I cannot wait. So I'm gonna be making her another cardigan in that color. So for this pattern, the process with Hobbii is not done yet. So they are gonna have this pattern on their website, and at the same time, I'm gonna have this pattern available on my website, Etsy, and Ravelry. So you guys can purchase it from wherever you would like to. So it's I should have brought the hanger, but I'm gonna show you something that I purchased for the first time, and this is something that maybe you're gonna say that I have been living under a rock. I live in the forest, kind of under the rock. No, I'm kidding. But I have never seen this. Now I cannot say what this is. I forgot. Is it clasps, if I'm correct? Oof. Let me show you here. So I saw these for the first time in the Woolly Thistle podcast, and I was looking at the pieces that they were. I think they were showing their finished pieces or what they were wearing, I think. And oh my goodness, I just went blank. This is one of the podcasts that I really, really love, but I just went blank about the names of the sweet girls that are in the podcast. But she said, I got these to put on my cardigan. So, if I wanted that to be more close, then she would wear it. So I went on Amazon and I found these. So I'm gonna show you how it looks on the cardigan. Maybe you're gonna see that a little better. Let's see if I can do a better job as to show it to you. Okay. So it's gonna be like that. Right? I thought that was the cutest look. And I got more. Let me see. I know, here they are. So that package on Amazon also comes with these. I'm gonna put the link on the description below too, in case you are curious and you wanna see how they look in there. Let me see, here you can see them better. This is another one, it comes with 4. So it's a set of 4. This one is super cute, it has flowers. So she's gonna be wearing her cardigan either with the clasps or without them. I'm hoping that clasps is the right word, but let's see. I should have been, I think, better prepared to put on my list here words to remember. I think I'm gonna do that for the next episode. Okay, so this is one of the patterns that is gonna be released. I'm hoping soon. Because it's all ready. I'm just waiting for the green light from Hobie, and then it's gonna be out and about. I just have to write the blog post, and then it's gonna be all done. The next pattern that I'm working on, and I'm gonna say it again, very, very, very special. So I'm part of the Blue Sky Fibers makers for the year of 2023. So I'm going to be working with some of their yarns. I'm going to be releasing a few patterns with their yarns, and it's been a delight to be able to work with them. This is the first time that I'm working with them, and I have worked with some of their yarns before. I have loved them all, but with this specific one that I'm going to show you, I haven't worked on yet until now, and it quickly became a favorite. Definitely this is gonna be one of the yarns that I'm gonna be choosing to continue to work on. So you're gonna see here in the picture how the yarns look before I turn them into a beautiful, beautiful ball. And I am going to show you, this is the biggest sneak peek ever. So I'm working on this cowl. Now, if anybody's watching this podcast and they are from or they have been in Colombia, I don't have to say anything about this design. Absolutely nothing. I don't have to say anything because right away that person would say, that's Colombia right there. So when I saw the colors, trying to decide what colors to choose for the yarns that I could choose from Blue Sky Fibers, I saw these two and I thought, these are the colors of the typical hat that we wear in Colombia, which is called el sombrero volteado. It has exactly these two colors. Over the years, and I will talk more about this once the pattern is released. Over the years, this hat has had more creativity into the patterns that the different artists put on the hat. But the main thing of the hat remains. So these are patterns that is just like a compilation of things that I grew up looking around when I was living there, from the different indigenous communities, from the kind of art from different, let's say, states. We call it departamentos instead of states. But for the sake of trying to be as clear as possible, and the art from different states, and the states that work more on this kind of art for the typical Colombian things, it always left me astonished. I was completely blown away. I went growing up to so many fairs. My parents, they took us to so many fairs with the different artists from all over Colombia. So they would meet at a place on the coast at least once a year. And my dad, he always took us there, and I could have been there for hours and hours and hours, which that's exactly what happened. So I wanted, for example, to include things that reminded me of that. So these, let me see here. This is something that you might be able to see. I was just sketching and sketching on my notebooks, and I said, when I looked at this, I said, that's it. That reminds me of that. This other kind of pattern over here that reminds me of that too. Let me see, these lines over here, they made me think of the hammocks that we have over there. Now these days you have many kinds of hammocks and everything, but when I see these ones with the lines, it reminds me of that. So I wanted to put together on this cowl things that to me scream Colombia. So this is something that I'm gonna wear the next time that I go there. I'm gonna be wearing that from the moment I leave my house here to the moment I arrive over there. So I'm so happy. I'm almost done with the sample, and then I have to write the pattern and everything. And now when I see it like this, it makes me think, now I can turn this into a purse. I can make a beanie. I mean, the options are endless, an infinity cowl. And I don't know, I think it's gonna be one of those patterns that you might see different versions through the year. It's really exciting. I have felt homesick, but at the same time, it's like a happy homesick, like thinking of. Anyway, I think I just better stop. All the memories and everything. So I wanted something that would say Colombia, and that's that. So in the past, and I talked to a fellow knitter here in Connecticut, in the past, when I have said, for example, that this Fair Isle pattern is inspired by Colombia, I get sometimes comments that are not the greatest. I don't take those comments to heart, because I believe that the designing that we make, or the pieces that we work on, or when we share a pattern, when we release a pattern for other knitters to work on, I grew up thinking and believing and living it, that the art that you work on is an extension of yourself. So in between all the other patterns that have lace and cable, which I love cable and lace knitting, I always try to include in my Fair Isle designs things that remind me of back home, things that open a little window for you so you can see some more from Colombia. And that makes me happy. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but this type of designing is one of the designs that make me really, really, really excited. Every time I talk about back home, my whole family is there. Obviously, it's a very special place, and I love it. And I would have my kids to have more opportunities to go and experience everything, the culture, the food, the surroundings. It's a huge window to the world when you go there. I would have liked the opportunity to have taken them more. Since COVID, we haven't been there. This year is the year that we're planning to go again. But these 3 years that we haven't been there, I have missed it a lot. The people, the food, the surroundings, absolutely everything. So this is like my escape, I think I would say. It's it's my little grain of sand where I can share some of Colombia with you. Okay, so that's oh my goodness. And you know what? I didn't bring anything to drink, and it didn't bring my water. I'm drinking water with a few slices of lemon. I should have had that here. Okay, so if I keep talking about that, so I say a few more things when the pattern is released, but I am absolutely loving working on this design. I have sketched so many times, and I have started this pattern at least 4 times, and I have seen it growing, and I have liked it, but when I really look at it, it's like there is something missing. And finally, this is the design that, where as soon as I saw it again in the sketch and I printed it out, and I was like, this is it. That's it. There is no going back. There is no more changing anything. This is absolutely it. The only thing that I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm going to be looking for testers soon, is that it's going to be a big fair aisle chart. There are not going to be written instructions. I cannot write written instructions for such a big piece. It's going to be charts. The thing is that it's going to be an easy thing to read. It's just 2 colors, a contrasting color, the main color, but it's going to be a fairly big fair aisle chart. So what I'm using to know where I am is I use a ruler, and I just keep moving it up as I work on the pattern. But I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't see it and I say, oh no, you know what, I don't want to work on it. I have worked on many other fair aisle patterns, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. But again, I'm going to be looking for the feedback of the testers. I have tried to find ways to minimize the size of the chart, but the one that I'm going to suggest for the test knitter, is the version that is like, that's it. I mean, you just have to be patient. Maybe it's not going to be one of those projects where you're going to be out and about, like in the car, for example, working on it. But it's such an engaging piece to work on that I really, truly hope that you guys love working on it. So that's it. That's everything that I'm choosing to say today. Now, last month, I entered the winter reading program with my local library, which they just opened a week ago. So now we are going, my kids and I were going twice a week to do homeschooling there. And it has been, the 2 times that we have been there have been amazing. So it looks like I'm going to try to do that every week, just to go there twice. And we go there for a couple of hours to work on their school. It's a change of scenery. So many books and everything that is going on. Instead of being distracting, I saw that it was more motivating than anything else. So I'm enjoying being there. When I'm there, I'm either working, and I have brought this piece, and I get comments, and they all have been good. So I'm really looking forward to see what you guys think when everything is coming out, like more, in a more final way, if I could say that. So choosing books to read it's been great. So anyway, when I joined the winter reading program, I chose a few books, and I returned a lot of books, because there was a point where I was like, I don't want to read this. Or it's not that I wasn't liking the book, it's that I just didn't feel comfortable with the turn of a few things. So I returned the books. So I have completed a few ones, but today I wanted to share with you one that I'm going to say is my favorite from the ones that I read. And I think I'm going to stick with that from now on. I'm not going to share like all the ones that I have read or stop reading and return, but the ones that I have read and that I have absolutely loved, and that I feel very comfortable sharing them with you as a possibility for you to read it as well. So back in September 2022, we went to North Carolina for vacation. And we went to Kitty Hawk, to the Wright Brothers Museum. I didn't know the history of aviation, like from that beginning. So it was amazing to be in that museum. I read every single thing that they had in the walls. I think we spent most of the morning there. Then we went to the monument and we took a few tours in their lectures. And I was completely blown away. So I chose a book that I will share with you when I finish reading it. It's looking great. I think that one I'm going to share. It's about the Wright brothers. But one thing that really stood out to me is that in all the story of the Wright brothers, Will and Orv, the sister was behind so much. And there was a point when I was reading everything under the pictures that I was like, I wonder if they would have done so much without her. Even though a lot of people, they thought that because she was the only one with a college degree, that she was the one behind all the math needed for, to fly, to make a machine fly. She took no part on that, but she was so encouraging to her brothers. She took care of so many things so they could do that. And at a point, I'm not going to say too much, she was involved in them, in the work that the brothers were doing. So I wanted to read more about her, Catherine Wright. So I got this book from the museum there when we went back on September, but I just started reading it last week. And I just finished it. And this is one of the books that I would say I could read it again. There is so much in this book. This is The Wright Sister, Catherine Wright and Her Famous Brothers by Richard, the last name, Morer, I'm going to say. So this is it. This is the book, Catherine Wright. She was so encouraging. Her disposition, how smart she was and intelligent, it completely blew me away. Like this, it's one of those people that you say, when some people ask you, if you could have dinner with somebody famous, who would you choose? I never really gave that question so much thought, and I haven't yet, but now that I'm talking about her, I say I would have loved to have a few minutes with her and to ask her a few things. And it looked like for the time she was just so fast forward, and the way the brothers valued her opinion, and she knew that everything that she did was valuable. That was just amazing. So The Wright Sister, Catherine Wright and Her Famous Brothers, this is a book that I absolutely recommend. Okay. So with that, I'm going to conclude. I'm saying thank you for you guys to being here. If this is your first time, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. And I wanted to do something special for you guys. So I'm going to be hosting a little giveaway. If you go to my website, you might have seen these project bags. These ones say, Inspire and Be Inspired. It has my little website in the back. This is a project bag that the logo I designed in collaboration with my friend Jules from Wildflower Lettering. So I have the pens and now I have the project bags. Maybe in the future there are going to be more things with this logo. But this is what I always think of when I work. That you are able, and everybody should feel that they are able to inspire others in some way. And that we have to slow down and let the moments sink in, or the surroundings sink in, and get inspired. It's true, and I know that it might sound cliche that when we hear the expression, there is inspiration everywhere, but there is inspiration everywhere. So with these project bags, I wanted you to hold your project, if it's your yarn balls or your skeins, if you work on another embroidery, some sewing tools, color pencils if you draw, pens, markers, whatever it is that you do, just to put that in here. And every time you take those tools out to work on your craft of choice, that you remember that you are able to inspire others, and that everything that you have around you, the tools that you work on, your family, your surroundings, they can be a source of inspiration for you. So I'm gonna be giving away one of these pouches to one of you. So what do you have to do, or what? That sounded so bossy. What would I like you to do if you are inclined to do that? In the comments, let me know something that you would like to see for the next episode. Okay, anything you want. Would you like me to answer some questions? Then leave the question in there. Anything that you would like to watch for me to do or to show you or to talk about for the next episode, leave that in the comments. I'm gonna be choosing one of the comments, and in the next episode, episode number 7, then I'm gonna announce the winner of this project bag, Inspire and Be Inspired. So I hope that you enjoyed it. So in advance, I'm gonna say thank you for the time that you're gonna put in into thinking what is it that you would like to do, into typing it, into putting it out there. Feel free to share this with your knitter friends or anybody that you know that you think would enjoy watching these episodes from my podcast. Okay, now before I go, I'm gonna share with you some videos that we took this month. We went to one of our local falls, Kent Falls. It's one of those places that don't get old, that every time we go, we enjoy it. So you're going to see a video of that. There is a video of a river that we went to also this month. And another place that I saw it when we went there, and it felt so peaceful. So I hope that when you see these next videos with some music, that you guys enjoy these sites, that you guys enjoy these places that we have been to this month. So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing if you would like to see what else is coming new from my side. I'm here in Connecticut from Yessys Designs. I enjoy this podcast. I enjoy getting in touch with you. And I'm going to put all the links in the description below about where else you can find me: Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. Okay, with that, I'm going to let you go. Enjoy the next video, and I'm going to see you next time at the end of March. Take care. Happy knitting and happy making.